Hey everybody, this is Honeymoon Loft. I'm going to give you a little bit of insight as to how I got started in the sport of racing pigeons and what this year is going to be looking like. So I got into the sport in 1977. Had a paper boy that had a pigeon he'd gotten off of a church loft and had tamed it, and it did the route with him. It landed on his shoulder, and I was really intrigued by that as a kid. And so one day I was out riding my bike and I saw a couple of pigeon lofts, and so I stopped and I knocked at the door and I asked the young man, I think he was a year or two older than me, and I asked him about them, and they were racing pigeons. So he gave me a few birds, and after that I started getting into it. I acquired a bunch more birds by friends giving them to me. They gave me some good birds. In fact, in my second year, I actually won a 500-mile race. So I was very interested in the pigeons, not only because of the competition, but just because of the flight. I'm intrigued with flight. So I started racing in 1977, and I raced through 1984 up in Iowa. Then I moved to Tennessee. And when I got down here, I started competing again in 1986 and flew birds till 2005. At that point, I took a little hiatus for some other reasons, and so 13 years I was out of it, and then I started back into it in 2018. And again, I bought a few birds from some good flyers, and I was given a few very good birds by some good flyers. And so I flew young birds last year in 2019. That was my first year. I had a team of 30, and I did actually win the first race. After that, I didn't do so good, but I got the dust off, and I remembered what I was doing. So I'm looking forward to 2020. In 2018, I built my loft. You can look at some of my other videos, and you can see what I'm talking about. But originally, it was a loft that was designed based on a chicken coop that I found on the internet. It's called the Palace Chicken Coop. So I designed it based on that, and then as I went, I modified it for my pigeons. The thing I like about the loft is it's obviously a raised floor. The floor is 2 feet off the ground, and that gives the birds some space underneath to mill around and do what they do. I put some cypress chips down there. And so they like that space, and but in the older loft, the first part, I have 8 nest boxes, and I have roosting space for 16 birds. And then I added the west wing, which is basically a mirror image of the east wing, and instead of having nest boxes in there, I have perches for approximately 50 birds available. Each loft section is only 4 foot by 6 foot, so I'm not going to be putting a lot of birds in there, but I'll be able to manage with what I have, with what I want to do. Most recently, I built what I call a bullpen, and you'll see a video on that upcoming. I built that in an overhang space next to my shed, and it's 3.5 feet by 7 feet, and I put a 4 condo nest box is what I call it. As you'll see, it's got a loft in it, a loft in a loft. So I'm going to be doing the bull system, and I'm going to be doing breeders in that loft. So just a little bit about the bull system. The bull system that I'm going to use was described by Michael Finney on Safe Haven Lofts. I appreciate your videos and your information. I'm going to try to follow that pretty closely, with one difference. My stud bird is going to actually be raising his own babies in that loft with his own mate too. So we'll see how this works out. I'll let you know. So the second round that will be raised after the stud round will actually be raised by, will be fathered by those particular hen's own mate. That's how I'm going to work that. So my plans for 2020, I plan to race natural system for the old birds. I'm going to try to follow Danny's booklet called Become a Pigeon Whisperer. He's got some very good insights in there. I recommend his book. I have flown widowhood and I've flown double widowhood in the past, and I've done very well with both of those, but it requires a lot more facility and a lot more time commitment than what I have right now. So I really enjoy doing the natural system because I'm able to get to know each hen and each cockbird a little bit more and figure out what trips their trigger, figure out what makes them come home faster, and I really enjoy that part of it. So I'll have an old bird team this year of between 16 and 20 old birds. My future old bird team I'm hoping will be 24 to 30. And then this year I'm going to band 50 youngsters. And I'm going to mate them up on February the 5th. I like to mate a little bit later in the year. I've done, you know, December where you have a baby ready to hatch or baby ready to band on the 1st of January. And I found those birds never did any better than the ones that were hatched in February and March. So that's how we're going to do that this year. A little bit about our club. I fly out of the Metro RPC in West Tennessee. We're spread out over a 100-mile radius. We've got people from West Tennessee, East Arkansas, North Mississippi, even one or two flyers that are in the Boot Heel of Missouri. So it's a pretty big front, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of driving, just even to get to the club, but it's worth it to me. So currently we have about 13 or 14 active members. So I just wanted to say thank you to all the YouTubers out there that have put up videos of their loft, videos of their birds, their plans, their ideas. I've learned a lot, and it gives me a lot of food for thought. So, and I'll be posting frequently as the season progresses. Our first race will be on April the 4th. So I'll see you soon. Like it if you do, and subscribe if you want to.